Get that style check, put it in pockets till I get back.
What's up, guys? JohnOrigins here today, bringing you a Pokemon X and Y Wi-Fi battle. Oh my god, I bet you missed that intro so much, but we're back with a Wi-Fi battle. It's been so long, but it's a game I had against Pietro very recently in the OU tier. Big thanks to Mike, aka Mystical, my boy, for recording this game for me. Both their links will be in the description. I made this team because I really wanted to use Talonflame, and I also really wanted to use a bulky Mega Scizor. So that's where we are, and his team is super threatening. I mean, that Thundurus is going to be a pain, and that Garchomp, if it's Scarfed, is going to be a big problem if I lose my Landorus. So let's get into the game, see how we do, and see if we can't have some fun. So let's go. Back in the Wi-Fi scene. You like it? I bet you do. So Pietro is going to lead off with his Terrakion, as I'm going to lead off with my Talonflame. I kind of thought I could U-turn off anything that he has, so I really like them odds, but I failed to notice that he had a Terrakion, which was more than likely going to be his Stealth Rocker lead, so I'm going to be forced to switch out. I'm not going to go for the U-turn just in case he Scarf and hits me up with the Stone Edge. He ends up going for the Stone Edge there, as I just bring in my Landorus nice and safely, and I'm going to try to go for my rocks again, failing to realise that he is a lead Stealth Rock set, which usually carry Taunt. So unfortunately I fall for that Taunt. The Landorus T does not get up its rocks, meaning I can't hit up that Thundurus with 2 times weak rocks every time it switches in, which is a problem because it is a threat. And this time I'm actually going to go for the knockoff, still not realising that it's a Stealth Rock lead and he hadn't even got up rocks yet. So I just gave it a justified boost. Luckily it's negated by my Intimidate that I got on it, but still a really bad series of first turn plays for me, as this turn I'm actually going to make a somewhat decent play. I'm going to U-turn expecting him to switch out. Honestly, I had no reason staying in there because honestly I was playing so bad with this Landorus. The quicker I can get it out of the field, the better. So I'm going to U-turn out, and I figure my best switch to take on this Gyarados is going to be my Thundurus, because I can either T-Wave it, completely neutralizing if it's a D-down set, or I can go straight for the T-Bot to try and kill it off. But I know he does have some mons to resist the electric type attack, so I'm actually going to go for the Hidden Power on the anticipated switch. He ends up making a safe play. He goes out into the Aegislash. I honestly should have saw that coming and gone straight for the T-Bot. My Hidden Power, I'm not sure if it's Hidden Power Ice or Hidden Power Flying, purely because I do have 2 variants on my DS. One has HP Ice and one has HP Flying, and I didn't differentiate between them, so that was completely my fault. That could be anything, to be honest. But I do bring in my Bishop here. It's my best thing to take on Aegislash offensively, so I'm going to bring it in on an expected Shadow Ball. And he goes for it. He ends up getting the special defense drop, which gives me the Defiant boost. And I didn't notice this at the start. You know, I didn't even see the special defense drop. I didn't even see the Defiant boost. But I'm still going to go for the knockoff either way because it's my safest play. Because even if he does go for the King Shield, which he does, my Bishop has the Defiant ability, meaning the knockoff effects of King Shield are not even a problem. I'm still at +2 attack because of that special defense drop with the Shadow Ball. And here I'm actually going to go for the T-Wave, expecting him to switch out into his Gyarados, but he ends up sacrificing his Gothitelle, which was a good play because it literally has no place in this game because I have the Scizor, which destroys its life. I have Thundurus. I don't have a Venusaur basically, which Gothitelle stops and counters. So he was made a good place sacking it. He doesn't want to face Stall, basically, and in comes Terrakion, and I'm expecting him either to go for the Taunt or the Stone Edge, so I'm going to stay in with my Bishop and go for the Iron Head. He ends up going for the Close Combat. I know he was really close to going for the Stone Edge, he told me afterwards, but unfortunately I do lose my Bishop, so I'm going to lose that Sucker Punch priority, which I could have had later on in the game, which is unfortunate, but I do have the opportunity here now to scare him out with my Scizor, with the prospect of a choice banded Bullet Punch, and he also is at -1 defense, so he cannot eat up a Bullet Punch either way. And I'm going to go for the Defog, just to get rid of them Stealth Rocks, meaning my Thundurus can switch in a little bit safely, and I get that Mega Evolution, so I get that bulkiness. I'm especially defensive support Scizor. I believe I'm Defog, Roost, Bullet Punch, and U-turn. I like this set quite a lot. It's very efficient. And actually here I am going to go for the U-turn, expecting him to Mega Evolve and go for the Dragon Dance. So I can get off some damage to the point where a Brave Bird coming from my Talonflame will kill him. He ends up going straight for the Waterfall here. And unfortunately for me, he gets the flinch, which honestly I don't think matters too much. But here he goes for the Dragon Dance, expecting the Roost, or expecting me to switch out, not wanting to risk any more flinches. I am going to Roost, I'll get it back up to full. I know I can take a +1 Waterfall coming from a Gyarados based off the damage of the original Waterfall. So I'm going to stay in and I'm going to go for the U-turn because I really want that damage on this Gyarados to go for the Brave Bird and knock out this Gyarados with my Talonflame. So I do go for the U-turn. He did get a crit, which is like, come on Scizor, stop getting hacked, okay? I get off that U-turn though. It does a huge amount of damage even at -1, and I can bring in my Talonflame. I'm not going to predict anything because it's a fucking Mega Gyarados. You do not mess around with Fret. So I'm going to go straight for the Brave Bird. I get to see what his initial switch is. It is his Aegis Slash, and that does a solid 30%. So either way, I'm happy with that damage because I'm a choice banded Talonflame, ladies and gentlemen. It is a destructive force, but because my Bisharp has gone down, my best switch into this Aegis Slash is my Landorus T, unfortunately, and he can just go for the Shadow Ball and do a solid 50% to my Landorus, which I'm not a fan of. Well, it's more than 50%, that's 65-70% easily, but not a point where he can knock me out of the Shadow Sneak because of the Intimidate drop. So I'm actually just going to play it safe here and go for the Earthquake. He was a risky boy. I honestly completely disregarded him bringing in Thunderous. I thought it was way too risky for him because he needs that T-Wave for my Greninja. So I did not expect that Thunderous to come in, and because it did, I am in a pretty difficult situation here. I'm going to go into my Thunderous. It can eat up the attack and should be able to go for the Thunderbolt in retaliation and try and do some mad damage to it to the point where Brave Bird from Talonflame will kill it. But he doesn't want to risk the potential speed tie, and he needs his Thunderous at a high range of HP so it can take on my Talonflame. So he's going to make the good play. He's going to sacrifice his Mega Gyarados, who he knows at this point is going to be kind of useless against the rest of my team because most of my guys outspeed it, so he doesn't exactly need it. So he's going to make the very decent play here. My Thunderous has got a lot of leftovers recovery back, so I'm really pleased about this. And on this turn, I'm actually going to go for the Thunder Wave just to cripple this Aegis Slash a bit. Maybe if I can get some power hacks, that'll be great. But I think he makes an odd series of plays here. He ends up going for the Sacred Sword. I'm not entirely sure what he was predicting there. Maybe the Scizor to come in as Death Fodder, but either way, Shadow Sneak would have been his better play, I think, unless he doesn't have it. And on the following turn, I'm going to choose to save my Thunderous because I figured if I can get some leftovers recovery with my Landorus T, I'll be in a really good situation. So he's going to go for the King Shield. I believe he did this, I had a reason in my head, was so that if he did get paralyzed, I think the King Shield still activates and you get put into shield mode before the power hacks. So maybe he wanted to be at more HP so he can live a Thunderbolt if he did get paralyzed, which I think is a good play. But he's going to bring a Terrakion, I think, kind of as Death Fodder to this Landorus, and at the same time, if I do want to go for my Stealth Rocks, which I do, he can get his own back up to kill off my Thunderous, and I think it doesn't quite kill my Scizor, but it puts it at like 2 HP. So getting with Stealth Rocks was a pretty good play on his part, I think. But Earthquake's just going to knock out this Terrakion, not a problem anymore. I did have Greninja for it, so it wasn't exactly a huge deal, but it would have been nice to get rid of because Talonflame only has a few hits in it now because I can't really get off a defog on any of his guys. So Talonflames are useless, is going to be pretty much depleted until when I actually need it. So he brings out the Thunderous here. I don't want to take a hit of Power Ice. I still need my Landorus to get good HP for that Garchomp. So I'm going to bring out my Thunderous as Death Fodder here. And what this enables me to do is bring out my Greninja, I believe. Because what I can do is go for the Ice Beam, try and knock out this Thunderous set. He could have T-Waved here, but I don't think that was in his best interest because he still needs this Thunderous if he wants to live a hit from a Talonflame. So he's going to sacrifice his paralyzed Aegis Slash to a combination of Ice Beam plus Dark Pulse. This is quite an old quite an old Greninja. So it carries Hydro Pump, Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, and U-turn, which is probably not the most efficient set, but it's the set that I picked up from my box. But it ended up working out in this situation because I'm able to knock out the Aegis Slash, and it does enable him to bring out his Scarf Charm, which is kind of threatening. But what I should just be able to do is sacrifice my Scizor to an attack, and then bring in my Landorus. And what this enables me to do is get the Intimidate off, put it at -1, and I should be able to live a hit from a Scarfed Garchomp and go for an Earthquake to get damage on it. I only need about 40% on this Garchomp to be able to kill it with a Choice Banded Brave Bird from a Talonflame, so that's my plan here. Luckily I got so much leftovers recovery from battling with Aegislash with my Landorus that I'm able to get in a really good range for HP, guaranteeing me to live an Outrage coming from this Garchomp, even though it is a powerful attack coming from a powerful Garchomp. I live it on 13 HP and I'm able to do a huge amount of damage, a solid 50% with this Earthquake, meaning that my Brave Bird coming from my Talonflame will be able to knock him out. And I believe his only 2 guys left are his Garchomp and his Thundurus. And after Stealth Rock's entry, I'm not particularly sure that a Thundurus can live a Brave Bird coming from my Talonflame. So I'm going to bring it in. I'm going to signal the GG button. I'm going to hit that Brave Bird and destroy lives. You may notice that I have 150 HP, which is an even number. Fuck EVing a Talonflame, okay? Alright? I didn't know what number to put it on it. So I'm just going to go for the Brave Bird here. Try and knock him out. And which I do, luckily. He ended up switching in the Thundurus because he didn't want his Garchomp confused. He didn't want to risk anything if he was able to live a Brave Bird, which I know he isn't because I know Garchomp takes around 70% from Choice Banded Talonflame. So I'm just going to be able to knock him out now with the Brave Bird, and that's going to be the good game. It was a very close game, but a lot of interesting plays and misplays on both parts, I think. So that's going to be the game, people. I get a narrow 1 over my Greninja, still alive. Wi-Fi battles will still be rare, but you know, it's enjoyable to have them on occasion. So I've been JohnOrigins. I've been out. I've been JohnOrigins. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace. Let's go. Bye.